Time now being 6 o'clock, we will call this meeting to order. This being the November meeting of the Dawson County Planning Commission, and we'd like to begin with the invocation from Neil Horns, if you would, please, Neil.
Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful county we live in, and I pray you can just guide us to make the right decisions on these cases we hear tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. This time we will have our roll call. And the record will show that we have 4 members present, Shelton Hanley being absent tonight, but we have a quorum, so we will proceed.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Gentlemen, I assume you've had opportunity to look over the minutes from last month. If you have, is there any amendments that need to be made? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Motion is carried 4-0. Gentlemen, I assume you've had opportunity to look over the agenda as presented from staff. Are there any amendments that need to be made? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moving a second, all in favor? And the motion is carried 4-0. If you are here tonight to speak either in favor or in opposition of any application and you have made contributions of more than $250 to any local official campaign, there is a form that you will need to fill out, which Leah has up here at the desk. We'll begin with application for variance VA 25-21. Doug Sherrill with the Land Development Professionals has submitted an application requesting relief from the requirements of Dawson County Land Development Code Article 3, Chapter 121-673C. The request seeks a reduction of 8 feet from the required 15-foot side setback, allowing for a setback of no less than 7 feet from both side property lines to accommodate the construction of new single-family residence. Is someone here to speak for Doug Sherrill, our Land Development Professionals? If you would, please come to the podium. Write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. For the record, please state your name.
My name is Doug Sherrill.
And if you would, give us a reason for your variance request.
Sure, I'm here on behalf of Miss Janie Burrell, the property owner. I would like to begin and make a clarification to a misprint that the current setback in those lots is 10 feet, not 15. The property is located within an established subdivision where homes are modest in size and fairly close in proximity. There was a former structure, a house and an attached garage that sat approximately 3 feet from the current property line. Both of those structures have been demolished and the lot is now prepared for a redevelopment of a new home. Mr. Chair, if I could approach and provide you with a couple of copies, please. We do believe there's a specific hardship in this request. For a little over a year, we have worked with the local health department where as on the septic system was installed a long time ago, and in order to even build a home on this, we've had to set aside a significant portion of this piece of property, which is on the north side, on the road side of the property, and to the northwest corner. So the entire front half of the property is really all septic area. So this is the hardship that we come before you tonight for this setback request. You'll see on the site plan that I have provided and shown you that we have adjusted and moved the proposed residence to 13 and a half feet off of on the top right corner, I'll call it the northeast corner of the house. So we're outside of the requested variance there. We're 9.1 feet to the closest point on the deck on that side of the property, which is the east side. I've drawn the 7-foot setback is what the variance request is. On the left side of the property, you'll see that we are just off the 7-foot setback there. So we have pushed the residence as far to the left as we can. To the right of this property, there is a lot where the existing residence is within just a couple feet of the property line. So it is very close. The house on the left-hand side to the west of this property is significantly away from the property line. So we would also like to present an additional, the property owner has acquired an additional 12 to 14 commendations, if you will, or neighbors who have said they agree with the submittal as submitted.
Thank you.
Again, this neighborhood has quite a few residences that are in close proximity, so we feel that this is in keeping with. While it's not ideal in a new subdivision, it certainly is something that has taken place in this subdivision before on a number of residences. So we're trying to maintain as much of a distance off of the property line as we can and still accommodate a 3-bedroom home with the existing septic. I'd be happy to entertain any questions that the board may have of me.
You are referring to existing septic, yet the septic tank is to be replaced.
It is, that's correct. So when we demolished the home, the tank was crushed.
What about the fill lines? Are they okay, or
They're fine. They're in good shape. Yes.
any questions to the applicant?
Yeah, so the this drawing that you handed out looks like it's a little bit different than what was in the application. Is that correct?
Yeah, so to clarify the application, I drew a box for the architect and said, don't go beyond this box. And they worked within the confines of that restriction that I provided them.
Okay.
So what I'm showing you is the actual footprint that would be permitted on the sheet that I shared with you.
So what is the distance on the west side? Since it's more than 7 feet, do you know what that actual distance is from the house to the property line?
It's around 8.5 feet.
Okay. So why are you asking for the 7 foot instead of 8.5 and 9.1?
Well, I'm trying to accommodate. I'm not sure that your ordinance talks about soffits, but I tried to accommodate soffits.
So, Richard, how does that play in? Is that to the soffit, to the fascia, the setback, or is it to the wall?
So it's always good potentially to have approximately, and so if they're wanting to have a little extra room just in case, it always helps, especially since Dawson County is unusual. Most places we know if you're going to build a house and the setback, let's say, is a round number 10 feet, it's usually 10 feet from the wall to the property line. We know not so with Dawson County, and so we sometimes have to talk to folks who work in other counties how it's not, in this case, 15 feet down to 7, and 7 being the wall to the property line. It would be a greater distance. That wall might be 8, 9, 10 feet, depending on how far overhang there is. It's really, the overhang on the gutters or otherwise from the property line. So, I mean, it's good in the sense that it gives it more cushion, more room to,
between houses, between property owners. But for builders, it's something that just to understand. So I mean, I can understand the request, and this is something where this is off our brand new regulations, in the sense that before, y'all would have somebody come before this board and say, hey, I want to build a new house. I want it to be 3 feet, 4 feet from the property line. That's not doable anymore. The county code has been changed. This is the maximum. It cannot be closer than 7 feet from the property line. In this case, for a house, side setbacks in this zoning district, the lake area VCR.
Okay, and is the setback 15 or 10?
Right now, it's 15 on the sides, and they're wanting to reduce it down to approximately 7 feet.
Okay.
If I may also approach, Mr. Chair, I would like to pass out the original survey that was done a number of years ago. This original survey shows where the old house was located up until, I don't know, maybe within the past year it was demoed. So you can see the proximity of the original home to the property line. So there was actually an encroachment on that property line as well, where the driveway encroached over the property line some 3 feet, I believe that map would show. So we have taken that driveway out. We obviously don't intend to encroach. And based on the location of that home as it stood for 30 years up until the last year, we will be moving the house further away from the property line than that house that was demoed was. Now that's the house plus the garage on what you'll see on that survey. So we feel like there is I don't want to say a precedent. Some folks say a grandfathering, but we do believe that there should be accommodation because a house did exist there for the past 30 years at that location.
Out of curiosity, did you get a demo permit for that house?
Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone to speak in favor of the application? Seaton, if you would, please come forward. Write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. Okay. And for the record, please state your name.
My name is Kathy S. Cox. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to speak on behalf of Janie Burrell and the fact that it has taken over 2.5 years to receive her building permit. My husband and I moved here to Dawsonville in 1998 to Overlook Subdivision. This has been our home ever since then. Janie and I have been friends and business associates almost all of those years. She has sold properties to us and for us. We actually owned 5 properties in this subdivision. Janie's expertise and knowledge of rules and regulations is immense. Never once did she steer us wrong or let us down. She's raised 2 children on her own without any assistance. She survived the Toccoa Falls flood, clinging to a tree, holding her baby for hours until she was rescued. Perseverance, it seems, has always been in her DNA. Now, after waiting 30 years to build her dream home in the neighborhood, she is met with bullying, harassment, and discrimination. One of her complainants does not believe in leash laws for animals, causing my elderly next-door neighbor to fall while walking her dog on a leash. The other complainant's brother bought my home on the point and immediately put it on VRBO, causing a multitude of problems, none of which the complainant's brother addressed. Janie Burrell is the one who called and explained county rules and regulations regarding rental properties to alleviate the situation. Now, the other complainant won't sell unless the buyer agrees to sign something say they will not rent the house. Also, this other complainant says his view will be blocked by this construction when the original house was actually there for over 50 years. I do not tell these stories for spite, but to show Janie has and still is using her knowledge to always do the right thing. She has waited over 2.5 years to get this permit. Why? Is it because she's a single lady trying to realize her dream? Some of us believe the permitting process for Janie's house has been unfairly difficult. We wonder what the underlying reason might be. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Seeing none, anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? If you would, please come forward, write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. For the record, please state your name.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim King, 416 Overlook Circle, Dawsonville, Georgia. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm here tonight at the request of Mr. and Mrs. Preet, representing them. They are a neighbor that is affected by this setback variance. I actually live in the neighborhood myself, and I am not affected by it, but I am here. They asked me to represent them, so I'm here representing them. And Miss Cox is my next door neighbor, so fun. Anyway, this is the previous house was a non-conforming use. I didn't check beyond the previous ordinance, but I do know the previous ordinance had a 15-foot setback. This is before those last revisions that y'all just approved. So I knew at least back to like 2020, it was a 15-foot setback. As she said, the previous house did encroach within that setback. It was a single car garage though, with one level with a flat roof with a deck on top. So it was very unimposing. It looked more or less like a deck. The proposed structure is, much taller and much more obtrusive, I guess. And you guys know better than I do. Been here multiple times on variances, and variances are for hardship cases. So it appears this particular case is not based on hardship. It's based on, want. It appears that the house could possibly be shifted, rotated maybe, and shifted according to to Mr. Preet. He had asked that, and they suggested that it could not be. I do realize there is a septic. I think one of the exhibits you have, it was on the application, shows the existing septic tank field there. And I have not seen a proposed septic tank field, but obviously, from what's shown on that exhibit, there's lots of extra room to adjust a septic field. So I really can't speak to that because I haven't seen anything other than what you're looking at. So anyway, I'd just like to say that, variances or setbacks are there for a reason. Variances are based on hardship, and hope you understand Mr. Preet's position.
Thank you, Mr. King. Anyone else to speak in opposition? If you would, please come forward. Write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
For the record, please state your name.
Christopher Preet. I live at 60 Viewpoint Drive, Dawsonville, Georgia.
And your opposition?
Yes. All my talk today and the facts that I'll go through, I was based on the variance that you had brought up that has the dark box around it. So in that case, the house went all the way down to the lake versus the house that was showing up there. So my comments related to the certified letter I got last week, because that's what it broke down was the house. So evidently a different house is being presented today that I didn't see the floor plans for or the house plans. Okay. So yeah, my name is Chris Preet. I live adjacent to the home. I'm respectfully asking to reduce the variance down or go to the requirements per ordinance. The board needs to hear facts to make an informed decision. The hardship piece of it, when you look at the ordinance, requires a legitimate hardship under 801C. The applicant wants to put a 2,200 square foot home on a 0.23 acre lot. This is a preference, not a hardship. A self-created issue, choosing a footprint that doesn't fit the code cannot justify the variance per the ordinance. The variance requires the smallest possible reasonable use of the space. The applicant has alternatives: slightly narrow home plan, shift of the garage or structural wing, or modify the bump out. Because these alternatives exist, the request fails to hit the minimum requirement test. And then just the overall purpose and the spirit of the ordinance is, per the Dawson County ordinance, is to provide adequate and light air through the buildings, prevent overcrowding of the land, and preserve property values. I've worked in real estate all my life as well. An industry average of value over the proximity of the home next to you can range from 3 to 8%, depending on the proximity. My home is worth $2.4 million. Even given that 3%, that is close to $100,000 of value. And that's a concern for me. So I respectfully ask for you to deny this variance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Preet. Does anyone else speak in opposition? If you would, please come forward. Write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium.
Hi, my name's Chris Morrow. I'm at 86 Viewpoint Drive. So I'm actually a house down on the left of Chris Pratt. And overall, I know both of these people. You know, I've not been there that long. I've been only in this, we just finished building our house there. We tore a house that was down there. We built a new home there. So we went through the same process, the same issues, and we had all the same concerns with setbacks and everything else. And all I can say is I'm really concerned about setting precedents of starting to change these setbacks on the sides. The fronts are always a challenge because these lots are so small, and I went through that myself. But I'm greatly concerned about these variances being put on the side and starting to put, especially down on that side, because when you get into that cul-de-sac or in the front of it, the lots get real narrow in there, and the homes tend to be on top of each other. So I had the same problems. I had to re-engineer the entire house, redesign it to fit within the footprint. We had the same issues with the septic tanks, field lines. It's a challenge. It's not easy, but we did all that before we tore the house down, and got into it. So I'm just concerned with this getting to be a little bit loosey-goosey, and then we start having variances happen in other areas like this. I'm sure the house could be, I know that no one wants to hear this because I didn't want to do it myself, but those homes can be shrunk down or changed or pivoted or whatever the case may be. And I would take that for consideration before that, ultimately decision gets made on this. So that's just my personal experience, and I've been through it, and that's why I'm opposed to doing this, because they're, especially in that area, very, very tight on that side. And I was very respectful on it when we built our home to make sure we didn't encroach on anyone else's property on there, which is why I never had to come in front of a committee like this. So just want to give my perspective on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Morrow. Anyone else speak in opposition? Seeing none at this time, we'll close it to the board for discussion. Gentlemen, any discussion?
Can I get Mr. Sherrill back up? I had a question.
Mr. Sherrill, would you please come back up?
On the southeast corner there, the 9.1 feet off, is that a deck?
It is deck. Yes, that whole box there is deck. The The area in front of that is a breezeway. So it's not, it's,
You're talking about to the north of it?
yes, to the north of it is breezeway. That's correct.
So it's
It's
like,
not living space.
so it's a roof only, like a open
It is.
kind of like?
So the front is open. You see the dash line on the front and the back. Those are both open. There is a side wall with windows down the side wall.
Okay. So I was just curious. It seems to me that possibly that could be moved a little bit farther in, since it is especially if it's a deck or a breezeway. If it's not actually part of the heated area.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I had.
Yeah, I've tried to move that deck as far off of. I met with the neighbors. I met with Mr. Preet and discussed what we had originally proposed, and we have definitely made accommodations and tried to shrink and tried to move. I've tried to do my best to move the house as far away from his side as possible. There are 2 lots on this street, this lot and Mr. Preet's lot, that are the most narrow lots on this street. Mr. Moreau's lot is wide, but not deep. I actually prepared his plan as well, and that did work out. If I could adjust this and move this house, I would absolutely do it. The septic system cannot be adjusted. The complaint with the county it's really not with the county. The county has been great to work with, and so is the health department. But the health department has been the hindrance, the difficulty in this lot. That septic system cannot be moved. If it is moved, what then has to happen is the idea of this non-conforming use. This is not a non-conforming use. It's a residential lot with a proposed house. But to the point of non-conforming, if she doesn't use that septic system, we cannot build on this piece of property. We cannot meet the current state regulations for a septic system, a full septic system, and a full backup system. It's not possible. These lots in this subdivision, should anyone else have this situation, they would also be non-conforming as far as septic systems go. I have looked at specialty systems to try to go in to Miss Burrell's lot to try to make this happen. It doesn't fit. So, these lots were created at a time when there just simply was not engineering and planning that went on to the extent that we do now. We would never propose these size lots on septic. It's just not something we can do. So this is a hardship. The hardship is absolutely the septic system. Can you make something smaller? Sure you can. 2,200 square feet is not a large home, particularly out there. Look at the aerial. Every home out there is at least that size in square footage, if not greater. So I want as the engineer of record to try to shift this as far as I can to the west off of Mr. Preet, because that's the right thing to do. It is absolutely the right thing to do. Mr. Preet's house, again, you can see it in where it's screened out in a dash line. It's maybe 2 feet off the property corner. If there's the same owner at one time owned both these lots, okay? So the property line was not an issue. He didn't care where he built what. So this house he built right up against, Mr. Preet's house was built right up against the property line. In fact, so much so that they had to do a property line amendment to where that Miss Burrell's property lost acreage in the back where we're talking about this, where it angles, where this property line angles. That is not the original subdivision line. The original subdivision line went straight. But had it have gone straight, it would go through Mr. Preet's house. So at a point in time, I don't recall the date, the property line was amended to accommodate that. So there has been some history here with this line. Um,
Has
and,
Mr. Preet seen this, the plan you gave us?
Yes, I sent him a screenshot of this to his phone. He and I have deliberated quite a bit on it. And it's been positive. We've had positive conversations.
Okay, that's all.
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Sherrill.
Yes.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Move and a second to approve. All in favor? Motion, you do have your variance. Motion is carried 3-0. VA 25-22, Randy Ingram has submitted an application requesting relief from the requirements of the Dawson County Land Development Code, Article 3, Chapter 121-673D. The applicant is seeking a reduction of 5 feet from the required 10-foot setback, allowing for a setback of no less than 5 feet from the true north side property line to accommodate the construction of a new garage. Someone here to speak for Mr. Ingram. Oh,
Ingram. Yes.
and if you would, please give us the reason for your variance request.
Yes, sir. I'll read this open letter. I had sent y'all a copy of it too, but it's, so I would like to ask permission for a 5-foot variance to the required side yard setback on my property to replace a metal carport with a permanent garage located at 240 Lake Circle, Dawsonville, Georgia. I would like to go from the required 10-foot to a 5-foot. I'm in a circle area off the road, and the way my property pies out would make it difficult to keep the garage from being too far out in front of my house. This would make the property more in line with the rest of the homes in my area. My neighbor to the south of me, Andrew Eckert, and 4 houses down, Chris Beach, got a 0 variance a couple of years ago and built garages on their property line. I'd like to do mine a 5-foot because I want to be able to get around the back of it and do some landscape and be able to do maintenance on it and paint it and everything. But I think it would keep in line with the other homes in the neighborhood. Again, I'm on a lake lot. It's very small lots, just like the previous owner. The way all the lots in the circle out, okay, you see there, and the way they all pie out, and that the thing that says shed is actually a metal carport. And the way, yeah, that is the metal carport there. I want to remove and replace with a garage. And there is the neighbor that is actually adjacent to that property line, Jason Mathasis, which is the one that would be affected, said he was okay with it. Plus, when his house was built, the builder got a 5-foot variance so they could put a deck on the side of his house. I think it would benefit, well, I know it would benefit me, of course, but keeping the garage out from in front of my house. But there is 4 other garages in that circle. I submitted a drawing of the neighborhood there. If you have that, if you go around the circle there, let's see. Yes. Can I come forward to show you this?
Yes.
Okay, this is my lot right here. There's also a garage that's my neighbor's, which is right on the property line. That one's on the property line. That one's on the property line, and that was done. Those were built within the last 3 years. There is another garage right here that's about 10 feet off of the road that has been there for probably 20 years. The lot's all grown up there now. But and by putting those buildings closer to the property line, it keeps them out from being in front of the house. So it, if not, mine will be out of sync with the other 4 in the neighborhood because it'll be right pretty much in the middle of the house, looking out. The lake lots, unfortunately, they are small. We wind up thinking of our front yards as our backyards because mainly on the way mine pies out. And, your view is on the lake, so you kind of think of that. So we kind of treat our front yards like our backyards. But that would make my area there where that carport is not messy, but it is a metal shed. And I store firewood in there, scrap metal, stuff like that. And it's right there where my neighbor parks. So he was very pro me doing that. So
The photo that's before us currently, is this what you're intending to build, or is this just for illustration purposes?
okay, that is for illustration. It's just similar. The garage door will be wider. There will have a garage door on the front and then a walk-through door right beside it.
Okay.
Similar to that, but it will be a little bit wider.
And the construction of it will be?
It will be very similar to my house, all of the overhang, everything to match the house, the colors, the garage door, everything to match the house. Yeah. And that's the way the other garages in our neighborhood are too. They're very, very nice looking.
Any questions to the applicant? Thank you, sir.
All right.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Seeing none, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, at this time, we'll close it to the board for discussion. Gentlemen, any discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the variance.
Second.
Moving a second to approve, all in favor? Mr. Ingram, you have your variance. Motion passes 3-0. Certainly.
Do I get a letter or something saying that, or just when I file the permits, will that be on
I'll email it to you tomorrow.
Updates by community development, draft zoning district, age-restricted residential development. County staff received from Jim King, 10/31/2025.
Mr. Chairman, Jim King requested some time to speak. This is not a public hearing. This is not an official item. He just requested if he could speak to y'all about this possible proposal.
Is Mr. King present? If you would, please come forward. Since you've already written your name and address on the piece of paper on the podium, you're free to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'm here tonight to present a draft of a zoning ordinance. This is first stab, just a draft. It's for your comments, for your review and comments. I'm seeking input. What this would be is a age-restricted residential development ordinance. As you are aware with some of the projects that have come through recently, on your age-restricted developments, most of them are private roads, gated, and they are robust with amenities, and they're all obviously, these would be restricted. This ordinance would be restricted to 55 and older. So you could not, it's not just a lot of the developments you see are marketed to 55 and older, but this would actually be restrictions, deed restrictions. And the thing with the active adult neighborhoods is everything's maintained by the homeowners association. So your yards are maintained, the outside of your houses are maintained. Yards, not just your front yard, but your backyard's maintained. The precipice behind this is, at that age, you don't want to mow your grass anymore. And it's not for everybody, obviously, but there's certainly enough population out there that wants this, that there's definitely a market for it. The problem is with our current ordinances, the smallest lot you can build. Oh, excuse me. Let me finish what I was going. So because everything is maintained by the HOA, you have to have small lots. You will not find an active adult builder that wants to build on large, for an active adult community, where the whole community is built for that. They just don't want to build on large lots because they have to maintain them. They have to charge the HOA the fee to maintain them. So the larger the lots, the more it costs to maintain them, the higher the HOA fee is, which is, counterproductive. So these neighborhoods for active adults, they all want smaller lots, and right now we have no provision for that under the new ordinances. So the great thing about active adult 55 and older is no impact on schools. Traffic impact is 45% of a normal traditional neighborhood. That's less than half on traffic. And it's at alternate times because people aren't getting up and going to work. People aren't getting up and taking their kids to school. So there's some big bonuses towards being an age-restricted community. There are a couple of things, emergency services, those does have a larger impact on EMS. However, and I did a bunch of research on this as I was writing the ordinance. One surprising thing is the sheriff's calls are a lot less. So you kind of offset and fire calls are a lot less. The sheriff's calls I can understand because it is a gated community, older population, so not quite as prone to criminal activity, I guess. The fire department I really didn't understand, but I did. I asked Chairman Thurman about it, since his background's in emergency services, and he said, yeah, that's because he said that he could understand it because people are home more. They're not going to work and leaving the stove on and things like that. So I guess that's where it is. But anyway, I will say even when I was a commissioner, I always kind of thought of Dawson County being an ideal spot for retirement communities. Doesn't impact your schools. As y'all know, 2/3 of your tax dollars go to the Board of Education. So I always thought it was a good idea. I reached out to some of the commissioners and they felt like it was worth pursuing. So I was asked to start the process and come up with a kind of a draft ordinance to kind of get the ball rolling and just see where it goes. So I brought each of you a copy of the ordinance today, and I'd like y'all to please review it and get me back some comments.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
And I did run it by planning staff already, and they made some comments, and I addressed their comments. Some of the things that I had in there were very difficult to enforce. So from code enforcement perspective, I can't remember now. There was a few things in there so anyway, thank you very much.
So on age restrictions,
Yes.
is it always 55 and older? Or are there any communities that are 60 and older, 65 and older, or not?
There is a law that allows you to restrict it, and it is 55 and older. So
Well, Jim, I'm
I don't remember now what it is. It's a
62 and I still got a kid at my house and he's still in high school. So maybe I'm an anomaly, but and as far as the calls for service, our particular neighborhood is a older community, 55 and up. Fire may not show up, but EMS shows up a lot.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
I think
get
it was
a lot of EMS calls in the subdivision I live in, which is Shoal Creek.
Mhm.
They're in there all the time. So, when age of population increases, but
Yeah.
sickness.
One of the things that a community that's designed for 55 plus, they do put in, implement health programs. one of the other things they do is they actually hire staff. They hire a program director to set up programs to where, every day you have some kind of activity, and it may be yoga, it may be, it may be swim aerobics or something in the pool. Actually, with the development that we were working on down at Dawson Forest and Highway 9, Taylor Morrison actually took me to Sarasota to tour some of these things. And I'll tell you, I swore I'd never move from my existing house, but if one of these came to Dawson, I'd be hard pressed not to do it. I think it's pretty amazing, this stuff, the activities they have. It's like a resort. It's pretty amazing. Lots of staff. That's what you pay for. That's why your HOA dues are high in these things, is because that's what you pay for. But they do have, like I said, they have full-time program directors. They have spas, where they have masseuses come in to do stuff. Everything is designed for aging community. Your sidewalk slopes, trying to do away with steps, more on-grade approaches and things like that. The lighting, everything is designed for that type of community. So I was very impressed. That's the first time I'd ever been in one, and I was very impressed by it.
How many homes does it take to support everything that goes with it?
I was told by Taylor Morrison it was 250. Now that's the only input I have on that. I don't know about other. There's Dale Webb's, there's Crestwind, there's several others. I don't know what. I haven't talked to them about it. I think I did put in here like 100-acre minimum
Yeah.
project, though.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
would be 200.
So,
That's what
and
I'm saying.
I kept the density at 2 an acre, which is what like RSR and RS2. I kept that, so I didn't increase the density on it. It's just the lot sizes is the main thing. The increase in the lot size increases the maintenance and everything else. The streets, they maintain the streets. The HOA pays to maintain the streets. So the wider the lot, the more street. It's just their model doesn't work on wide lots.
So they are. Is there anything in here about it being gated? Do they,
About what now?
is there a requirement that they be gated in the ordinance that you've written?
I don't think I added that because I didn't check. But it would, if it's not in here, it should be. That was one thing I was going to add, and I can't remember now if I went back and added it or not. But
Gated community and private roads.
okay, yes. Did you find it in there?
Saying
Oh, yeah.
it
No,
would be
yeah.
gated and private.
Yes, yeah. That should, if this moves forward, I'd highly recommend that. Gated community helps with protection, your police protection or security, as well as, keeps people from driving through the neighborhood that don't belong there. So, you've got areas, most of them in Florida. They're all over the country. I'm just not that familiar with them. But you've got these areas all over the country, and we don't really have any here. Like I said, I've always thought Dawson County would be well suited for that, just primarily from a tax burden standpoint.
Any other questions to Mr. King? Thank you, sir.
All right. You could, if y'all don't mind, if you got some comments, just get them to Richard, I guess, and Richard, you get them to me. That'd be good. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any updates from planning?
No, thank you.
Okay. And that leaves us with M, adjournment. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
This time, We are adjourned. Thank you. You don't have to vote. You're good.